Over the past year or so, there's been a big scandal to do with singer Conor Maynard, who is allegedly the father of a reality TV contestant's child. And although there's been 2 DNA tests now which have shown he is not the father, she's maintaining that he is, and she's now saying that there is a rare genetic condition which may explain it. So today I thought it'd be interesting to go through a complete timeline of all the different events, what happened, as well as the most recent developments. And so with that, let's get started. Now, this is quite a complex story, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by breaking down who the different people are and how they relate to the situation. Conor Maynard is an English singer. He's best known for his song Can't Say No, but he also does a lot of song covers which are quite popular. He has over 13 million subscribers on YouTube and almost 3 million on Instagram, so he is decently well known, and for example, I had definitely seen quite a few of his songs on YouTube before. Conor has a sister called Anna Maynard, and she's also a YouTuber and singer. Now, Anna is in a relationship with a man named Harry Clark. Harry competed on the reality TV show The Traitors UK Season 2, and he was the winner of the show. The Traitors Season 2 filmed in around September 2023, and there was a wrap party at the end of filming which celebrates wrapping up filming, which is quite common in TV, and that party would have happened approximately in October 2023. Now, Conor attended this wrap party because obviously his sister was dating the winner of the show. At the wrap party, Conor apparently met Charlotte Chilton. Charlotte was also a contestant on The Traitors Season 2. After the wrap party, Conor and Charlotte apparently had a brief fling and were dating for a while, although this was not public knowledge at the time. Several months later, in April 2024, Charlotte announced that she was pregnant in an Instagram post which said, "So I have been keeping a secret in a few of my pictures. The true glory is in my final picture. After 7 miscarriages over my 20s, failed insemination, failed IVF, I was told it probably won't happen for you." Lots of Charlotte's co-stars from The Traitors commented with support, including the host of the show, Claudia Winkleman. However, at this point, Charlotte did not say who the father of the child was. But then, 2 months later, in June 2024, Charlotte announced in a video posted on Instagram that the father of the unborn child was Conor Maynard. She explained that she had protected his identity up until now, but she is now speaking on it because her unborn daughter has the right to know who her birth father is, but also Conor had said he wanted nothing to do with the child and apparently blocked Charlotte on social media.
I've not named the father in protection of him, and I'm in a situation now after a lot of intimidation and a lot of made to feel terrible, referring my daughter to it, that even though they've told me that by speaking out people will probably hate me, I'm prepared to do it. I don't think it's relevant. He's made it clear he wants nothing to do with us. I've never asked for a penny. Not that he's ever offered. Conor has everything he needs. Yes, that's his name, Conor. I met him after the Traitors wrap party, and we started seeing each other, and Penelope arrived in my tummy.
Charlotte also said that she had worked out the conception date, and that conception date did line up to when the wrap party was, although there was some speculation in the comments that I saw of people saying that Charlotte had not quite worked out the conception date properly because it's not an exact science. But at this point, most people were on Charlotte's side because from what she was saying, she got pregnant by Conor, who is a famous singer, who now doesn't want anything to do with her or the child. Several of Charlotte's co-stars from The Traitors supported her. In fact, Molly Pierce, who was one of the contestants, unfollowed the winner of the show, Harry Clark, on Instagram, seemingly because Harry is dating Conor's sister Anna, so presumably Molly unfollowed him in solidarity with Charlotte. One of the other parts of the story that's quite intriguing is that Charlotte was actually previously married to a woman for 7 years. In June 2024, Charlotte's ex-wife, named Laura Chilton, spoke to the Daily Mail and basically said that Charlotte had lied about being single. Laura's statement said, quote, Charlotte has stated in interviews that she was single and had been single since the filming of The Traitors, which was not the case at all. We were still in a relationship when she was filming the show. Laura also claimed that she wasn't surprised when she heard that Charlotte had hooked up with Conor, because apparently Charlotte had cheated on Laura in the past. It also seems like the two of them said their relationship was, quote, toxic, but Laura made it clear that she and Charlotte were definitely still together when Charlotte slept with Conor. Then, around 4 months later, on the 25th of October 2024, Charlotte announced that she had given birth to her daughter Penelope around 2 weeks previously, so the baby would have been born approximately in early to mid-October 2024. Up until that point, Conor had not addressed the rumours of him being the father in any way. But many people had commented saying that Penelope, the baby, had a very striking resemblance to Conor, so Conor must be the father. However, in the months that followed after Penelope's birth, Charlotte gave quite a few interviews with different media outlets, and she gave a bit more information about her and Conor's relationship. She even shared a photo of the two of them in bed together, and they apparently sent it to Harry, the winner of the show, who is dating Conor's sister. She said they had a great night together, and when they sent the selfie of the two of them to Harry, they said, quote, successful match. Charlotte said after her fling, she and Conor stayed in contact and it was all nice, but after she told him that she was pregnant, he changed. According to Charlotte, when she told Conor she was pregnant, he said, quote, I'm not ready to be a dad. It's nothing against you, Charlotte, but even if we'd been together for 3 years, I would be the exact same. I don't want to have a child. That's why I haven't got a dog. Then, in November 2024, which was about a month or so after Penelope was born, Charlotte shared that she sent an ultimatum to Conor, saying that he needed to financially support the baby. The message said, okay, we clearly are not friends. However, we have a daughter who is identical to you. I don't even know if your family care. However, I do. I am killing myself to pay for what she needs and deserves. So with that, I can talk to you face to face, or we can do it in court. Take your pick. It's time to grow up. And as I said, up until now, Conor had not addressed the rumours of him being the father in any way. Then, around 3 months later in March 2025, Conor posted on social media saying that he had taken a DNA test which proved he was not the father. The full statement said, earlier this week, I took a paternity test regarding Charlotte Chilton's baby girl, Penelope, in the presence of her legal representative. Today I've received the test results, which confirm that I am not Penelope's father. I am glad that the speculation can finally be put to an end. All I would ask is that people act with kindness in response to this news. There is a child at the heart of all of this, and that should not be forgotten. I wish Charlotte and her family all the best. This was when the public opinion then started to swing from supporting Charlotte to more so supporting Conor, because this DNA test proved that he was not the father. In the months that followed after Conor's post, Charlotte said that she had doubts about the results of the DNA test because there were some, quote, irregularities in the way the test was done, and she also said that a, quote, unidentified male was present during the DNA swabbing.
But I got a call then saying, look, Charlotte, I need to make you aware of a few things about this first test. It didn't take place in the solicitor's office. He said at the last moment he decided he was having a panic attack and he wasn't going to leave the house. And so if we were going to go through with it, we had to go to his flat right then. But she was willing to go, this lady, and she went across and witnessed the DNA test being done. But there was another male there, and obviously she got there quite a little bit after. So with the result being completely, like, just literally was not understanding the result at all, my mind was like, is there foul play? I mean, I obviously can't say for definite there was, but in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I only slept with one person, so there's got to be something wrong.
Charlotte then said she wanted to do another DNA test, and she wanted it to be done by a lab that was DOJ certified. This means a laboratory that has been officially approved by the UK's Ministry of Justice, MOJ, to carry out DNA tests for legal purposes, and these labs follow stricter legal and scientific standards, which makes the results usually more reliable and admissible in court, so it's a higher reliability of the results. Around 5 months later, in August 2025, Conor posted on social media saying that he had done another DNA test and it also said that he was not the father. The full post said, "Today I received the result of a second paternity test which was requested by Charlotte Chilton regarding her baby girl Penelope. As with the last test, this test has confirmed again that I am not Penelope's father. As Charlotte requested, Penelope's, Charlotte, and my DNA were all taken at a Ministry of Justice accredited DNA testing facility that was selected by Charlotte. The results are therefore conclusive. This has been difficult for me and my family, and I'm so grateful for everyone's support. I'm glad we can now finally draw a line under this. I sincerely hope these results mean we can all find a way to move on with our lives." After this second DNA test came out saying that Conor was not the father, even more people then went to Conor's side, and a lot of people then stopped believing Charlotte, and people felt like she needed to move on and she needed to accept the results. News reports came out shortly after saying that according to a source close to Charlotte, Charlotte was, quote, shell-shocked by the results of the second DNA test and was now considering where to go from there. But then, in late October 2025, Charlotte did an emotional interview with The Sun newspaper where she maintained that Conor is the father, and she claimed that a rare genetic condition may solve the DNA mystery. Charlotte said that from her research, one reason as to why the DNA test did not show Conor as being the father may be to do with something called chimerism. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I will try and explain what chimerism is in a very simple way. So, a chimera or chimerism is a person who has two sets of distinct DNA. It usually occurs when there are two embryos in the womb, so twins, but one of the embryos gets absorbed by the other, and the surviving twin ends up with two distinct sets of DNA. This means that the DNA that comes from one part of their body, like for example a cheek swab, may not match the DNA from another part of their body because they have two distinct sets of DNA. So for example, if let's say Conor was indeed a chimera, the cheek swab, which is how they normally do DNA tests, may show one set of DNA, but if he did a sperm sample, that could show a completely different set of DNA, which may be why there is a discrepancy of the DNA test showing he's not the father. Although it should be noted that chimerism is extremely rare and there have only been around 100 cases of it in history. One example of chimerism is, in 2002, an American woman named Lydia Fairchild was pregnant with her third child and she applied for child support. As part of the claim, she had to give a DNA sample to prove that the children were hers. However, the DNA test came back saying that she was not the mother of the two existing children, despite the fact that she had carried them and given birth to them. At first, the government thought that she was lying, and they even wanted to take her children away from her. So when she gave birth to her third child, the judge ordered for an observer to be present during the birth and to do DNA testing straight away on the baby's blood. They found that the baby's DNA was not a match to her, but they knew for certain that she was the mother because she had been observed during birth. Then, after some extensive further testing, which included DNA from a cervical smear, they found that Lydia was actually a chimera, which is why the other DNA test showed no DNA match with her children, but further DNA tests did show a DNA match. So in a nutshell, that is what chimerism is. However, as I said, chimerism is extremely rare and there are so few cases of it. So it's extremely unlikely that Conor or Penelope would be a chimera. However, in the interview, Charlotte did say that twins run in her family, and twins is often where chimerism comes around. As I said, it's when the two embryos come together. So Charlotte was saying because twins run in her family, she might be a chimera. But as I said, it is extremely rare. Also, some sources online have said that in cases of chimeras, usually they do share some distant DNA with their children. So, for example, even if Conor were the father and he were a chimera, it would usually show that he might be a distant relation, for example, the uncle rather than the father. However, reportedly, the DNA test showed that Conor had a 0% match to Penelope, which means that it is very unlikely that he is the father. After Charlotte did this interview with The Sun and said that chimerism might be the reason why Conor's DNA didn't match her child, a lot of people felt like Charlotte needed to accept what was going on and that she either needed to get help or she was just making up lies because she was getting paid for these interviews that she was doing and maybe she just wanted more attention. A few days after Charlotte did this interview where she mentioned the chimera thing and insisted that Conor must be the father of the child and got very emotional, Conor seemingly fired back at her and posted a video on social media mocking Charlotte.
And then I saw that he'd posted out that the DNA test result was saying he's not the father.
Here's an invisible tissue for your invisible tears. Anyway, this is my studio where I recorded my brand new single, Cherry on Top. This is the producer, Brendan. Brendan, tell the people what they're going to think of this new single.
Honestly, I think...
He also posted a video of several comments people had made about him being the father of the child, and the caption said, "Well, these aged well." As you can imagine, the internet exploded after Charlotte did this interview, with people saying that Charlotte was just making things up for attention or that she needs help and that she just needed to move on. However, there were also people that believed Charlotte. For example, someone commented on Conor's post on TikTok and said, "Could you be a chimera? Honestly, at this point, it's the only logical reason for her to be pressing this so hard. I now actually believe this woman." Conor then replied to this saying, "Did you just say that chimerism, a rare medical condition that only has 100 recorded instances in history, which also doesn't apply in this scenario, because if that was the case, a percentage of my DNA would have still matched Penelope's, brackets, both tests showed a 0% match, and the DNA testers would have picked up on a genetic anomaly, is the quote, only logical explanation against the explanation that is simply just a woman who got caught lying and cannot/won't accept it because she gets paid for these interviews and wants the attention." There's also an unconfirmed rumour that I've seen circulating on social media where people have speculated that one of the members of the cast from the Traitors might be the father of Charlotte's baby, but a lot of the men from the cast are married or in relationships, so that's probably why they haven't said anything up until now. And they also speculate that Charlotte might know who the father is, but she doesn't want to talk about it because she knows she'll get more attention if she focuses on Conor being the father. Although I should just say this is a completely unverified rumour, but I have seen it circulating a few times on social media. In fact, someone named Stacey commented about this rumour on Conor's video on TikTok, and Conor's sister Anna replied saying, "I think we need this louder, Stacey." And so for now, that appears to be all of the information we have about this entire situation, because this latest development only came out in the last few days. But as of right now, it seems that most people are now on Conor's side and don't believe Charlotte and think that she's making up different reasons to try and get attention or to make money from the situation. And on the balance of probability, the chances of Conor, her, or the baby being a chimera is extremely low. Although it should be said it's not impossible. And unless Conor agrees to do some more in-depth DNA testing, it's unlikely that we'll ever get a definitive response on it. But I just thought this was a really interesting and kind of wild case, and there were just so many details, I thought it'd be interesting to do a complete timeline of what's happened. But as I always say in my videos, please do not send hate to anybody involved in this situation. These videos are just for informative and entertainment purposes, so please do not get involved and just enjoy this type of content passively. So there you go, there was a complete timeline of the paternity scandal involving Conor Maynard and Charlotte Chilton. Let me know in the comments whether you knew about this scandal before, and do you think that Conor is the father and is likely to be a chimera, or do you think there's another explanation? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to get early access to my videos as well as other benefits, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. It just costs a few dollars a month and it really helps support my channel, and I'll leave a link to that in the description. Please make sure you like and comment on this video to help tell the algorithm this is a great video, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel because it really does make a huge difference. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in a future video. Thank you, bye!